If you've been skipping your period, is it possible you are in stage 2 perimenopause? Well, you're going to want to listen along because I'm going to break down all about stage 2, how close that is to you being postmenopausal, what your labs look like, and what are the symptoms. Hi, I'm Dr. Carrie Jones. Definitely subscribe, hit that like button, and ask any questions because I know hormones can feel like herding cats, and I'm here to help. Now, with stage 2 perimenopause, this, of course, would happen after stage 1, and I have an entire YouTube video on that you can watch. The stages were determined by a workshop. It was the Stages of Reproductive Aging workshop that said there are only 2 stages to perimenopause. I would disagree. I think there's an in-between gray area stage. But when we get to stage 2, that's when you've skipped your period by 60 days or more. Now, it can be a major freak out because you might think, oh my gosh, am I pregnant? What happened? What's going on? Especially the first time it happens, and maybe even the second time it happens. But once you have started skipping a period 60 days or more, and you're the appropriate age, you are considered in stage 2 perimenopause. Once you hit this stage, the powers that be, the guidelines say, you're going to become fully postmenopausal probably within the next 1 to 3 years. Now, the classical definition is all around your period. So I understand how this can feel frustrating if you have had your uterus removed, or maybe you have an IUD and don't bleed, or you've had your post-surgical menopausal. That's completely different. This is specifically if you still get your period. Now, because you've started skipping periods, you may notice that the symptoms of low estrogen and progesterone are more predominant. So now we're talking much more the hot flashes, the night sweats, joint pain, muscle pains. Sleep issues probably started in stage 1. They may or may not progress or change here in stage 2. You may notice that you're getting the genitourinary symptoms, vaginal dryness, pain with intercourse, bladder issues, bladder infections. You may notice that your brain was working, not bad in stage 1. And now because of the shift in estradiol, which we're going to talk about, that shift in estradiol, your brain fog, your recall isn't quite as good as it used to be. And again, you may still have symptoms of stage 1, which are generally symptoms that kind of come and go. So again, you may get itchy ears that come and go. You may get phantom smells that come and go. You may notice your energy, your mood. All of these can change, but tend to, if you're going to develop them, progress into stage 2. Now, let's talk about lab work. If you go get blood drawn, which is not a requirement to tell anyone if you are perimenopausal, the definition of perimenopausal are age and symptoms, and we determine stage off the change of your periods. But let's say your practitioner is going to have you get blood work for a specific reason. Usually as you start skipping periods, we notice that progesterone is low. Pretty good chance you're not ovulating or releasing the egg anymore. And as a result, you're not making progesterone. Now, that's probably started to decline in stage 1, but definitely by stage 2, if you're not on progesterone and you go and get it tested, it's probably low. Estradiol, which is the main estrogen, will really start to swing in between stages 1 and 2. But definitely in stage 2, if you're skipping periods, estradiol will be low. And then if you get your period again, estradiol will go up before your period comes. So you will still get swings because some months you may get your period and some months you may not. You may go 6 months with no period and then you get 3 periods in a row. And then you skip 3 months and then you get your period again. And then you skip 9 months, right? You can see that it goes back and forth. That's what I mean by estradiol kind of swings up and down, because the body in like one last ditch effort is trying to communicate down to the ovaries to make hormone, and then you get your period when you haven't had it for a long while. Now, when you haven't had your period for a long while, there's another hormone called FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, and it will often start to increase. It will start to climb above 20, above 25 at this point, especially if you've skipped your period longer than 60 days. If you're listening to this going, yeah, I haven't had a period in 6 months, your FSH is probably double digits at this point. But again, especially in the early part of stage 2, you may notice of like you get 2 periods a month and then you skip 4 months and then you get a period and then you skip 3 months. It kind of just goes back and forth. Now, eventually, all of that will settle out. Eventually, you won't get your period. And then it'll be 6 months. And then it'll be 8 months. And then it'll be 10 months. And then it'll be 12 months. And on the 12th month, you are considered menopausal. On the 13th month, you're considered postmenopausal, which I know is crazy and it's very quick, but you are considered menopausal on the 12th month of no period. You have to go 12 months. After that, you are considered postmenopausal. Hopefully, in theory, your period's not coming back naturally from the communication from your brain down to your ovaries. Now, if you happen to be listening to this to learn and you are postmenopausal, but you've started bleeding again out of nowhere, you have to talk to your doctor about that. Definitely get that worked up. We don't want you to start bleeding out of nowhere if you've lost your period for a while. It's been definitely a year or more since you've had a period. But if you're listening to this and you're like, oh gosh, that's me. I skipped 3 months and then I got a period and then I skipped 3 more months, you are solidly in stage 2. Now, I mentioned there's potentially a gray area. And this is where I wish we had more than just stage 1 and stage 2 for perimenopause. Because I feel like to go from stage 1, which is where you shift your period by about 7 days, to all of a sudden jump to 60 days is a lot. And women experience a big gray area in between there. So I would like to see like a stage 1A, a 1 plus, or maybe a 3 stages, where the second stage is where our period's not quite 60 days missing, but maybe it's more than 7 days, and depending on the symptoms. However, that is not the case by the powers that be. It's stage 1 and stage 2. Now, as I said, stage 2, once you start to skip 60 days or more, you will probably move closer and closer and closer within the next 1 to 3 years of being fully post-menopausal. So what do you do? Well, one of the options here, of course, is to consider hormone therapy. And if you hadn't been offered it in, especially progesterone, in stage 1, there's a good chance, if you're a candidate for hormones, that you will be offered hormone therapy in stage 2, because for sure your progesterone is likely very low. It's also possible you will be offered estrogen therapy. Now, I want to talk about estrogen therapy, and I do have a video on all the different types of hormone therapy that's out there if you're new or considering about the different options. But when you start estrogen therapy, there are a couple camps on it. One is that you should wait until you are completely postmenopausal to start estrogens, if you're a candidate. And the other camp says, no, once you start skipping periods, once you've gone 60 days or more, then you have low estrogen during that time. And if you're symptomatic, talk with your practitioner. You could be a candidate to go ahead and start estrogen at that time. And I fall personally more into that camp. If I have somebody come to me and say, oh my gosh, I haven't had a period in 3 months and I'm having all the symptoms. I am having dryness and joint pain and brain fog and the hot flashes are terrible. Those all sound like classic low estrogen to me. And I'm going to suggest estrogen therapy for that person. I would not make them suffer 9 more months to hit 12 months of no cycle before suggesting any kind of hormones, again, assuming they're a candidate. Now, in that time frame, we absolutely have to make sure the foundations are dialed in. No matter what you choose, hormones or not, the sleep, your dietary choices, your stress management, your exercise, your fiber intake, all of those things have to be really dialed in because, again, we're trying to prevent those long-term chronic diseases, cardiometabolic disease, neurodegenerative disease, osteoporosis, fractures, bone fractures. Like we want to minimize our risk of that, right? We don't want that as much as we can. So hormones play a big role, but of course your foundations play a big role as well. So if this sounds like you, if this sounds like, gosh, I am totally skipping periods at this point, my symptoms are sounding or feeling, acting very low estrogen, then you are considered stage 2. Now, if you do have an IUD in, let's say you have the Mirena IUD, or you've had your uterus removed, but you still have your ovaries, so you're like, oh my gosh, I don't bleed. Like the IUD makes me not bleed, or I've had my uterus removed, I don't bleed. Can I still be in stage 2? You can. Oftentimes what they will do is they will run that hormone I mentioned earlier, follicle stimulating hormone, and see if you are 25 or higher. It's a blood draw. It's generally very inexpensive and covered by insurance. So we match your symptoms, your age, your FSH, and see. Once we get higher Then so let's say you get your blood draw and you're 40. Then I'm like, oh, you're actually postmenopausal. That's way up there. You're postmenopausal at that point. But if you're in the, the low double digits, 25, or then I'm like, okay, we're probably perimenopausal, not quite postmenopausal at that point, depending on your symptoms, your age, your progression, etc. So you can absolutely still, if you have your ovaries, you can still go through stage 1. You can still go through stage 2 to get all the way to be postmenopausal. It just takes a little more work to figure out where you are if that's something that you need to know. Now, the very last thing is, why do I need to know? Why do I need to know if I'm in stage 2? Do I care? The thing is, you just may want to know what your roadmap is. So, of course, not everybody wants to know or needs to know, but knowing that once you start skipping 60 days or more, you're 1 to 3 years out from becoming fully postmenopausal can bring a lot of relief to women. It can bring a lot of just education to women. It can bring a lot of like, okay, I know where I'm at in the roadmap and where I'm going and kind of the timeline of what's happening next. So if you're that person who just kind of likes to know what's up ahead of them, knowing when you hit stage 2 can be really helpful because after that, the next stage is postmenopause. Like you're up and over the hill. Now we still have to support it, but that's the important part of why definitely a lot of women want to know if they're phase 1 or phase 2. Now, definitely I have a whole other video all about the different stages, and I have a separate video on stage 1 particularly. So if you're listening to this and you're like, I'm not quite there yet, skipping 60 days or more, then I advise you to watch the video on stage 1 because maybe you're there instead. So once again, thank you so much for following along. You want to hit that subscribe button, leave any comments below because we know hormones can feel like herding cats, and I'm here to help.